Hello everybody, welcome to this Excel tutorial. Here I'm going to show you how to process your data from our forestry experience out there in the field. Here is a set of data that I had from about 4 years ago, and there are 84 pieces of data here. And we have common name, distance, height, and circumference. These are the three parameters that we actually measured in the field. And very first thing that I want to do is sort these trees and group them. Notice that they're just entered into this Excel sheet in the order in which they were entered in the field, but I want to group all the oaks together, all the sugar maples together, and so on. So how do I do that? Well, I start by left-clicking and highlighting all the data, including the column headers, all the way down, all the way to the end of your data. And anywhere where you've selected, which is now blue, you right-click and choose Sort. I want Custom Sort, and I'm going to sort by the column known as Common Name. So what will happen is all of the data in the row will get sorted. So this way the entire row gets sorted in accordance with the column here, Common Name. So, and there it is. All my trees are grouped together by name: beech, black birch, and so on, and elms. This will be vital for part 2 of this video series when we actually calculate the forestry information. I want to add a column here, and I want circumference not in centimeters but meters. So let's go Kirk or Circ as an abbreviation for circumference. I want meters. Now, since there are 100 centimeters in a meter, I'm going to take all of my centimeter readings that we took in the field and simply divide it by 100. So the formula I'm going to use is equals, and I'm going to reference the cell right next to it. Cells are named by column and row, so notice it's now showing D2. And I'm going to divide the contents of that cell by 100. Now, since this is a relative cell reference, I can actually copy that cell by either right-clicking and selecting Copy, or I could just do Control-C on PC. I really have no knowledge of Mac, sorry. So there's probably a different procedure to copy and paste on Mac. But just copy that cell and paste it all the way down the column. And since these are relative cell references, what will happen is when I paste everything, the formula that is will actually reference the cell that is right next to it. So this way I have all of my circumferences now in meters in this column. I want another column, this time diameter in meters. Well, we have a circumference in centimeters because we took out our tape measures and measured the trunks of these trees. But how do I go from a circumference to a diameter? Well, we have circumference in meters. Now, it really just comes from a basic understanding of the formula of a circle. Now, circumference is 2 times pi times r. Now, I want to have radius all by itself in that equation. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2 pi, and I get radius by itself, because the diameter is really nothing more than just 2 times the radius. So if I multiply both sides of this equation by 2, notice how the 2's now drop out. They cancel out, because 2 over 2 equals 1. So now this 2r becomes a diameter, because the diameter is nothing more than 2 times the radius. So my diameter now equals circumference over pi. And we have circumference data, because we collected it. So let's go back. We're going to reference our circumference in meters here. So our formula is equals circumference, or the cell right next to it, in meters. And I am going to divide that by pi. And pi in Excel is simply just pi, open and close the parentheses, which returns the value of pi, 3.14, and the decimal expansion. And there you have it. Diameter now in meters. So since this is a relative cell reference, I can copy that formula, paste it all the way down the column, and it will reference the cell right next to it. Awesome. New column. Let's do height, but I want meters. Our Biltmore sticks are calibrated for feet, but I want everything in meters. How do we do that? Well, it turns out that Excel has a very nice conversion functionality, and you start it out as you would with any formula in Excel with an equal sign. Equals. Now I have my measurements in feet. Now I'm going to use the function known as convert. So if I start typing it in, notice how Excel begins to guess what you want to type in, and I want convert. So I'll double click that. And notice how a little helpful pop-up window shows you the syntax of the function. So I want to convert some number, which is this, my height in feet. So I'm going to reference this cell all the way over here, my height in feet, by just left clicking it, comma, from what unit? Well, I'm going from feet to meters, and the abbreviation in feet in Excel is just FT. Make sure you put it in quotes because that's the syntax. Another comma, so I'm going from feet to meters, and the abbreviation in Excel is M for the purposes of this function. Close parentheses, and I have my height in meters. So 37 feet is approximately 11.34 meters. So again, this is a relative cell reference in this formula. So if I copy and paste it all the way down the column, it will take care of all of my other trees. And finally, I want a new column, this time basal area. Now basal area is going to be in meters squared. This is the area of the trunk, right? Essentially a trunk is a circle. So the formula of an area of a circle is just pi r squared. So if we go back to our data, well, we do have a diameter in meters. So how do I go from a diameter to a radius? Well, I just divide it by 2, right? So here's how we start our formula. Equals diameter in meters, this cell here. But you know, I'm going to put this expression in some parentheses here. Whenever I work with division in Excel and I've got multiple operations that involve division, I like to enclose each expression in a set of parentheses just to make sure that Excel is evaluating these expressions in the proper order. So yes, I'm going to reference this cell over here, diameter in meters, but then I'm going to divide it by 2 because I want a radius now. So the area of a circle is pi r squared, or r squared pi. So we're going to now raise this to the power of 2, and you use the caret symbol here, which is just shift number 6. So a caret gives you a power in Excel. I'm going to raise this to the power of 2. So that's our radius squared. And I'm going to multiply that by pi. So times is just an asterisk, and pi, again, is just pi, open and close parentheses. That returns a value of pi in Excel. And there you have it, basal area in square meters, because I'm referencing the cell here, the diameter cell, in meters. So again, relative cell reference in that formula. If I copy and paste it all the way down the column, I get all my other trees. All right, well, that's part 1. Part 2, we will discuss how to calculate all of our forestry measurements. So zoom on over to part 2.